Hi everyone, welcome back to Salt and Burn This. My name is Sammy. Don't.
I'm Valerie. My dog is not growling right now.
It's just mine.
Although I did have an adventure with Miss DOG here.
Oh no.
So I've been able to bring her to the theater with me. Not when I'm backstage running shows, but like while we're queuing and stuff like that, I've been able to bring her into the theater, which has been great because then I just run her home on the dinner break and she's only home by herself for a little bit. Well, yesterday, I had her leashed and I had all my stuff, my score in my hand, backpack on, headed out to the car, and I was like, oh, I'll just let her off to do a quick tinkle. She likes to run down to this other house and pee in their bushes. And when I let her off leash, she like ran down to those bushes, but then she saw a turkey. And she bolted after the turkey. And I was like, oh, she'll come back. You know, she'll be like, oh, you know, hey, big, big, and she'll come back. Well, I didn't hear anything and I didn't see anything. And so I was like, oh, well, that's not good. So I kind of hoofed down the hill a little bit and I was like, Julieta, you know, come. Nothing. No rustle in the bushes, nothing. And the back side of these houses, it's all woods. So I knew she wasn't in the woods because I couldn't hear her and I didn't hear any birds or anything like that. And I was like, oh no. And I couldn't see around corners. So I went back up to the house. I put down my score. I took off my backpack and now I'm kind of hoofing around in people's backyards calling my dog. 15 minutes. No sign of this dog. And her tags don't jingle. So it's not like I would hear her tags jingling if she were running around. But at least I knew that she wasn't in the woods. But it's also like beautiful manicured lawns and no dog. Like I could see everybody's backyards and no dog. And I'm like, oh my God. So I called my boss. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be late, you know, which is stage manager being late. Not a good thing. I said, the dog, I'm chasing after my dog. And he's like, it's okay. It's fine. So at least I have an understanding boss. But I was like, well, maybe she ran back to the house. Because she always comes back. She's not a dog that runs away. She's not someone who gets caught up in the moment and runs away. So I was like, oh, well, maybe she ran back to the house and she's looking for me. So I ran back to the house. She's not there. And now I'm actually a little bit panicky because I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
If I keep running around and looking for her, will she hear me? And I'm sure the whole neighborhood heard me because I wasn't like, you know, woo woo, Julieta. I was like
screaming,
calling her name. And I was like, oh my gosh. And now I'm kind of working myself into a panic. And my phone rings and it's a number I don't recognize. But I sort of recognized it. And it's the dog tag people.
Oh.
And they said, somebody here has your dog's collar. And I said, just the collar? Oh my God. Oh. And he's like, let me just put you through. Do you want to talk to the person with the collar? I was like, oh my God, put me through. And the person said, hi, this is so-and-so from Michigan, because I'm in Michigan right now. And I was like, oh my God, please tell me you have the whole dog.
Yeah.
He's like, I have your dog. So she apparently chased her turkey and then tried to get back to the house, but all these houses look alike.
Yeah.
And she just went to the wrong house
and was like, hey, let me in.
Let me in. Yeah. Let me in. And so they brought her inside and she has a QR code on her tag.
Oh.
And so they did the QR code, which called the dog tag people, which then called me.
I see.
But by the time, I was like, I'm not from here. I don't know your houses. And he's like, well, he lived on the same street. Like I recognize the street name. And I'm like, I'm a guest here. I don't know where I am.
Oh, God.
And I was like, he's like, I see you coming up the hill. And I'm like, I don't see you. He's like, doesn't wear this house. Look over here. And there she was, paws up on the screen door, you know, like, hey, Mom. I was like, oh, you little shit.
Yeah.
But I tears running down my face. I'm
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. And I was just like, thank God for the little QR tag, because this tag is actually from Charlotte. It's from the county, the dog license. It just came with when I re-registered her dog license.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they sent out this time instead of
Oh,
just a little tag that says she's registered. They did the whole find your dog thing.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, as part of just, if you register your dog, this is what you get.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want to say, keep a tag on your dog. I mean, yeah,
I
she's
know
chipped.
I don't.
Yeah, she's got but she's not a runaway dog, but she chased something and she got lost. She literally got herself lost.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she was running. She just was like, oh, hey, this isn't right.
That's like the scariest feeling when your dog takes off and then they don't come back when you call them.
That's exactly it,
It
because
instantly
everything
makes me
goes
like
through your
my
head.
heart like go up into my throat and I'm like
Yep, that was the mess I was in. So then I had to call
I'm
my boss back and be like, I got her. I'm coming. And when I showed up to rehearsal, I was just relieved and a mess at the same time. And people were like, yeah. And the dog was like, hey, everybody.
Yeah.
What you doing?
She just had a fun adventure. Met a new friend,
Yes, exactly. It's like people who hugged her and played with her and
Yeah. I know how you feel. Once Marvel ran after a deer.
Oh
and I was like, oh no, she's gonna get herself like kicked or trampled.
Right? Because she's tenacious and not in a bad way. She's just like,
but she's fearless.
What are you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But she did come back. Yeah,
Okay.
like almost immediately. Like she chased after the deer. The deer's obviously much faster than she is, so then she's like, look, I did it. I saved the
Did you
house."
see what I did? Did you see that? Yes.
Well,
silly dogs.
I hope you have some wine to calm your nerves after that.
That was the worst part, is that I had to go to work.
I know, you couldn't just... Season 3, Episode 6, Red Sky at Morning. A watery death without the water. Bella joins the boys in solving the mystery of a ghost ship that appears every 37 years, leaving dry land drownings in its wake. Written by Lawrence Andrews and directed by Cliff Bolle. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. I just looked up at the tail end of that.
So new people, right?
Yes, I think very obviously it was new people.
Okay. I honestly, my overall feeling of this show was that somebody had an idea of what supernatural is and what the supernatural characters are, and then wrote the episode and directed an episode and kind of like took the cast along for the ride.
Yeah.
There was a fairly big disconnect for me in this episode.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Would agree with you. And very early on, like I noticed it. Not in the recap, but we'll get to there.
Because the recap is all the other
the stuff. It's just the basic stuff. The evil sons of bitches, Bella, Dean's mortality, brotherly love, Sam's murderous to demons. But it was basically just the final scene of bedtime stories,
Right, exactly. The wrap up of that episode was the recap.
Yeah.
Yes. But the now part, so jumping into the now, we see a jogger running along a marina at night. She stops to get a drink of water. She's probably at the halfway point of her run, getting ready to turn around and do the other half back. But as she turns around, she to head back, she sees kind of thunderboomer clouds off in the distance over the water, which I thought looked hokey, but that's just me. But then also behind some trees over the water, you see a ship kind of appear. Like an old schoonery ship, like 3-masted,
like an old pirate ship.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of appear, and then disappear, and it's kind of like, did I see it? Did I not see it?
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't see it. So she, turns around after getting a drink from the water fountain and starts to jog back home.
Yeah.
One of my comments was, I miss running at night. Night running is actually one of the best feelings. So that's one of the things I loved about living in Hollywood is that I
If you
could
like
run at
running.
night. If you like running, correct.
I could do without any kind of night running, day running, inside running. No, thank you. You can have it.
I was just like, oh, just that one scene. I was like, oh, I miss running at night. So,
okay. So later, she's at home taking a shower. The camera likes to linger on her taking a shower. How much soap do you have in your hair,
rinse
lady?
your hair. Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
She's in the shower, and as the camera's like panning down her naked back, there's a figure moving behind the glass, or like on the
like
outside
in her
of the shower
bathroom,
door.
but not in her shower. Yeah.
And then there's this guy's fingers that like touch the glass, and then out of his fingers come like this water.
It's like a waterfall almost, like from his fingertips.
From his fingertips, exactly.
Yeah. That was kind of cool, though.
It was super cool. She thinks she hears something, peeks around, guess there's nothing there, continues to rinse the massive amounts of soap that are in her hair. I feel like there was soap coming out of the shower.
Out of the shower? Yeah. Well, because it's like in one take, it's like super suds, and in the next take, no suds, but she's still doing the same actions over and over again. It's like she must have really enjoyed that rain shower.
That's fine. The rain shower is pretty nice. I have one of those shower heads. It is
really?
nice to just go.
See, I don't have the patience for that. I'm just like, get it done. So, back to rinsing.
Yes.
And suddenly, there's a man in her shower who grabs her from behind, and it like he kind of wraps his arm around her neck, and it looks like he's just like choking her, and so they're thrashing around inside the shower. And the last thing we see like her terrified look on her face, and she like does that reach out and presses up against the glass and does that squeaky hands down the glass sound. Title splash.
Sorry, everyone that's listening to our sound effects.
So I have a quick story about that sound.
Yeah.
I was doing a show where we had kids. We had two small children in the show, and each one of them had their own special entrance. And so I would stand them by putting my hands on their shoulders. And I'd say, "Are you ready?" And when it was time for them to go, I'd be like, "And go," and I would release them. So that's how they knew it was time to go.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Are you ready?" And he would say, "Yes, I'm ready." I'm like, "Okay, go." And I released him, and the kid took like 3 steps on stage and like tripped on his shoelace. And just face plants, just like, wham! Aww. And everybody heard this poor kid just go wham on stage. And I'm standing in the wings going, oh my God, is he okay? Is he okay? And I was like, he's not okay. He's not okay. So I had to reach out onto the stage, grab his foot, and pull him off stage. And because we had Marley down, the dance floor, as I pulled him off stage, his body made that.
Oh no.
Oh, as I pulled him, I just made that squeak sound as I pulled him off into the wind.
No.
I was like, oh my God. He was okay. He was just, I think, more stunned by how hard he hit the ground.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But the fact that his body made that sound as I pulled him off stage, I was like, oh no.
Amazing. Was this a performance?
Yeah, it was a performance. But I was able to like get him up. And like, are you okay? And then bring him back, like bring him downstage and get him ready for his next entrance, what his next entrance would be. And I was like, let's do this. Are you good? He's like, yeah, I'm okay.
No, poor kid.
But he was, and he was able to go on. It was really cute.
Oh God. Okay, so I just real quickly about this teaser, because on the DVD, and I have complained before that there are no commentaries, but they do often have just a little, like a vignette, I guess, of something. So like in one, remember I told you they like talked to the prop guy and he talked about the props in whatever episode that was. This one they were talking to the special effects guy.
Oh.
So he was talking about this teaser and then a couple scenes a little bit later. So in this one at first, like I know that you think the ship is hokey, and I agree, but I am going to hawk that up to the quality of the TV now versus then.
Okay.
I think it probably looked fine on a worse TV.
Okay. Okay. I will buy that.
But because they usually film like the actor first, and then they put in the special effects later, at first they had just the ship. Like it wasn't flashing
Oh,
on
okay.
and off.
It was just
in
real
the
time.
thunderstorm.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, there's the ship, and it's ghosty looking. But he was like, it didn't really match what she was doing because, she's kind of rethinking what she's seeing or, really intently like what is out there. Which, that's got to be hard for an actress to be like, when they themselves are not sure what's going to be out there. It's just like, pretend you're looking at a ghost ship.
Yeah,
I don't quite know
how
what
do
it's
you
going to look
react to
like
that?
yet. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you can either overact it or underact it,
Yes.
know? Yeah.
So that's when they did like the flashing in the thunderstorm, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't as expensive looking, but I did like that it flashed in the lightning storm. Like it wasn't just a ghost ship.
Yeah.
And then in the shower, they did the whole scene and they thought it was really like disconnected because it just kind of looked like he was a serial killer. Like,
he was a little too real. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little too real. And then it was like, okay, what does this guy have to do with the ghost ship that she saw earlier? So that's when they put the waterfall coming out of his fingertips to kind of make that connection. And I liked that waterfall.
I liked that too. I thought that was really cool because at first you thought it was a man's hand. And when it touched the glass, but then like just a couple seconds later, then the waterfall starts through the fingers. And you're like, oh, it's not a man.
That's a supernaturally
yes, exactly.
person.
So I got that. I absolutely got that.
And I actually thought that too. Like this whole scene, I was like, man, this is really kind of brutal. If it weren't for that little touch that they did to make it clear that he is a ghost or a spirit or some kind of creature of some sort.
Well, that and the fact that he got into the shower without her noticing.
Right, and without opening the door or anything,
Right, exactly. Natural.
Okay, after the title splash, boys are in the car again. I feel like this is the 4th episode, maybe more, where they have started in the car with an argument of some sort.
Yep. Yep. Well, it's canon at this point. It's how they do their exposition,
I know, but I wish they would mix it up a little bit at this point. It was definitely in the last episode. It was definitely in one other one. If maybe it was the one like right before that too.
Yeah.
I feel like there was at least 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's only episode 6.
Well, yeah, I guess they just found routine.
Yeah.
I guess, but maybe sometimes routine is what you need in order to get through some stuff.
Sure.
I don't know what to do. Let's just put them in the car. Or maybe the budget doesn't have us, we can't do a big, scenic look for something. It has to be. So, and oddly enough, Sam and Dean are arguing. And I'm glad for this, though. I am glad for this moment because this is Dean saying, when did you think to tell me about the Colt, that you took the Colt because there's a bullet missing? Mm-hmm. Dean figured it out. He's like, you went and saw my crossroad demon, and what, you decided to kill her? And Sam's like, yeah, she was lippy. She was mouthy, sarcastic. I shot her. And Dean doesn't like that, but then he's like, oh, does that mean my deal is done? You killed the demon. Does this feel good? And Sam's like, yeah, you think I would have told you if I'd actually, by killing your crossroad demon, that you're now like free of the deal.
Yeah.
But he's like, nope, somebody else holds your contract, and I don't know who that is. And I'm like, I know who it is, but only because I've seen the show. Yeah. So they're still arguing back and forth. It's one of those like, who loves the other person more?
Yeah. It's like, you're my brother. What do you expect me to do? And
yeah. I'm not going to apologize for killing your demon. I'm here to protect you. And Sam's getting just a little bit more confrontational about his.
There's something about him. And here's, this pretty much wraps up this scene in the car. Is like they don't really finish their argument. They're just like, well, okay, we'll table this for later, as we always do.
Yep.
This was a very un-Sam-like Sam. To me, his attitude was very pompous.
Yeah.
Is the word that I want to use. But I don't think it's because of Yellow Eyes stuff. You know how like there's been this mix of like, oh, is it the same Sam
Is
that
it?
he brought back?
No, I think Sam's freaking tired. I think he's tired of Dean's attitude.
Oh, well, yes, I do think that, but I think it was more because of the writing. I think that the writer didn't write Sam in the way
Sam
that
well.
he should be Sam.
Well, there was that. That's why I meant, you know.
Yeah.
It was an attempt at supernatural, and the writer and the actors had to go along with it. Yeah, it was definitely more attitude from Sam, and a different kind of attitude from Sam.
Yeah.
That didn't quite match. Now he drops back into Sam later in the episode, like he drops into, you know, the Sam we know. But there's a bitchiness to his character that we haven't really seen before, and it didn't quite sit well with me.
It felt odd. Okay, so then they cut to not the victim's place, but they're interviewing somebody that the victim knew, who is this
she's the aunt.
Great old lady, yeah.
Yes. What's her name? Gertrude Case.
Yes.
Gertrude Case, played by Ellen Gear, who is, again, one of those actresses that you've seen on everything. She's an older actress.
Yeah.
And you've seen her on everything. Her dad was on The Waltons.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's
wow.
Yeah, her parents were actors. So that's how far back her acting career goes. She was actually a child actor on The Waltons for just like 2 episodes, I think. But she's been on freaking everything. NCIS, Desperate Housewives, Castle, Criminal Minds, Bones, Charmed, CSI, Dallas, which was on
God.
that. Falcon Crest, all those evening soaps that we talked about earlier. Yeah. She was on Chips. Everything.
Wow.
Everything. And she was a lot of fun on this episode, if not.
I loved her.
A little creepy later on.
It was,
but
very
it was fun.
Sometimes a bit much, but I think she played it well enough for me to kind of look over some of her.
Yeah, you're like, oh God. Yeah.
So she's frustrated because she's already told the story about Sheila
her niece
drowning in the shower.
And how does anybody drown in the shower?
Right. Fair point. You know.
Yes. Yes.
And then at their usual questions of like trying to figure out if there was anything weird going on, you know, she recognizes something. It's like, oh, you must be working with Alex.
And of course they're like, yeah, we're working with Alex.
Yeah.
Who's Alex? But they didn't say that. So they just went along with it to see what other information they could get out of Gert.
Yeah. Or Ms. Case, she pointedly says to Sam. She's very taken with him.
Yes.
Much to Dean's delight.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And poor Sam is. I mean, he's such a like the good doobie, you know. He's not going to disrespect her and be like, "No, lady, you know, get away from me."
Get off of me.
Yeah, no, he goes along
smiles.
with it.
It's like, okay, thanks.
Hey, old lady, it's okay. Yay.
Yeah. But she does say that Sheila did mention that she saw a ship. That disappeared right before her very eyes. Do you think it could be a ghost ship?
A ghost ship. Alex thinks. Alex thinks it's a ghost ship. Do you think it's a ghost ship? Like, well, we don't know. We might have. We'll have to get back to you. Yeah, get back to you on that. I love though that Sam was very bedside Sam here. So we talked about him like becoming Sam again. In this scene, he was Sam. He was very bedside Sam. Mm-hmm. Which I think allowed Gert to really lean into him.
Oh yeah.
You know, physically and emotionally.
At the same time, she's at the age where I'm sure she's thinking, "What do I got to lose?"
Right?
Whatever. There's a confidence that comes with that age, I think.
My grandmother literally said, "What does it matter? I'm old. I can do whatever I want." She said, "I can say whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I'm old." And you know what? She's right. She's right. She said some outrageous things at one point. We're like, you actually can't say that. But you know what? She could just be like, I'm old. It's okay. What do I know? I'm not going to remember that I said this. But I mean, honestly, Gert literally strokes Sam's finger.
Right. For a long time.
Literally.
Yes.
Which had me go, oh.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And I think it had Sam.
It was like, woo!
If it shocks Dean, you know, it is over the top.
All right.
Having escaped Gert's grasp,
Yes.
the boys are outside now talking about what they've learned.
Yeah, they have a nice little walk and talk summary.
And it turns out that the ship appears like every 37 years. And after it appears, there's some freaky rash of dry land drownings that accompany it.
So it's a death omen, kind of like the Flying Dutchman, which
bum, bum, bum.
Don't believe the Flying Dutchman does. It's not quite that way a death omen, but it is an omen of bad things.
Yes, indeed, and doesn't quite fit what's happening here, but it was along the lines of it's a ship a ghost ship that you see. Yeah, absolutely.
I did like this nice little moment of Dean is like, oh, finding the name of the ship or IDing the ship shouldn't be that hard. How many crashes have there been? And Sam's like, about 150.
150 shipwrecks.
And they do this little bit like, wow, yep, crap. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. Yep. I mean, they are in Massachusetts, so a lot of maritime history there.
You're right. My question, when did Sam do all of this research?
In the time that he left the house and stepped out onto the pier, he did all of this research.
Yeah.
That was my question, too. I was like, he seems to know a lot about this ship that they just learned about while leaving her house. And because maybe they were walking along the pier for an hour before, we caught up to them with this conversation. I have no idea.
Maybe they knew about the ship beforehand, but they were just trying to coax it out of Gert, but they seemed pretty surprised that there was a ship.
That there was a ghost, yes.
Or maybe Sam just had this in the encyclopedia of his mind, because he does seem to just know things randomly.
I'm gonna call bullshit on that, because who knows that there's been over 150 shipwrecks.
I don't know,
off the coast of
but he also
Massachusetts.
knows like all these facts about plants, and he was able to identify what was like an alligator.
Oh right, an alligator scale
or something.
Right. Okay. Given that knowledge, yes.
So
but
I'm tacking this into Sam's crazy list of
crazy smart that he is.
Of jobs, of, things that he is an expert of.
Okay, right.
And that would
horticulture,
be
animal husbandry, and shipwreck maritime. Okay. Yeah, and the only reason I'll call bullshit on that is because he made it sound like it was something he went to go looked up.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
the only reason I'll call bullshit on that.
No, you should call bullshit on that.
But they come to, I'm assuming they're walking to the Impala, and Dean stops the conversation because he's like, where's the car? I left the car right here. Where's the car? And there's no Impala there. And I love that Sam asks him, he's like, did you feed the meter? And Dean's like, of course I fed the meter. And if you look at the meter, it says expired. The little red flag is up inside the meter. I was like, okay, so maybe you did, but, one quarter may not have done it. And Dean literally starts to have a panic attack about the car, which cracked me up.
No, that was amazing.
Having had my car stolen, I absolutely know what he was going through. Your identity, your life's association with that vehicle, gone. You're like, oh my God.
No.
Part of you is gone. It's not just like, oh, fuck, what do we do now? Where's my car? It's a part of you has been stolen. And so I totally got that. I did not like the fact that now Bela walks in and is like, oh, is your car missing? Must have been, parked in a no parking zone or something. And I was like, no, Bela, don't fuck with baby. Don't do that. I was like, that to me was dirty pool. Because
Bella's got balls, man.
She does, but I was like, why? Why fuck with the Winchesters? They weren't messing with her.
But they were.
Well, yes.
They didn't
but again,
know.
the time lapse between her figuring out that they had just come from Gert's house and that Gert is now pissed that the investigation isn't complete because there's a question about the ghost ship. I was like, there's so much that happened in the 3 minutes that Sam and Dean left that house.
Yeah.
And again, I want to say Bela, crazy smart. Love her tenacity. Love that she's got her own game going and she's good at it. She wouldn't be alive today if she wasn't. But don't keep messing with our boys. You know?
That's what she's written for.
Yes, exactly. I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way, right?
Yes.
Right. So it turns out she, of course, is Alex, who has been working with Gert, and I love that she knows exactly how to get under, Sam and Dean's skin, which is to fuck with the Impala.
Steal the car. Mm-hmm.
But it also gets them out of her hair because now they have to go find the car while she can go take care of business.
Her thing. So that was a good move.
Yes, indeed. And I didn't think about that at first.
I didn't think about that either until you just said it. I was like, oh yeah. I guess now that she's like, they have to go like through all the bureaucracy of like getting a car out of a tow impound.
Right? Which is no easy feat, by the way.
No, 'tis not.
I had my car towed several times living in LA. Should we talk to Monkey about that?
Oh my God.
Oh, poor guy.
Poor guy. I think that's what did him in, honestly, was just...
Well, I told you that one of my friends, like, he had his truck towed to the point where he couldn't afford to get it out of hock, and he's just like, fine, take it.
Yeah.
He couldn't pay the impound charges. He's like, just take it. I was like, that was a brand new truck. It was a brand new truck, and he couldn't afford to get it out of hock. I hope you're listening, Dave. So this is also the guy who borrowed my truck for the summer because I was gone working on the East Coast, and I left my truck and I let him drive it for the summer. And when he gave it back to me, both of the headlights had burnt out. He's like, yeah, your headlights stopped working. I'm like, dude, you gave me back my car with no working headlights? Like, one burns out, I get. But they both burnt out. You left me with no headlights.
Thanks.
And those are so expensive, $10. He's like, yeah, your lights stopped working.
So.
Cut to. Sorry,
say,
Sammy.
No, it's okay.
A guy. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it's later that night. There's a man in his bathroom. He's got a bath running in the background. He's doing his evening ablutions, brushing his teeth, stuff like that. He turns around and notices that the bathtub has stopped running clear. It's all full of...
I don't think that he had the bathtub running.
No?
He had the sink running. He's like washing his face and doing that. Then there's like that thing that we both like, where the figure moves in front of the camera.
Yes,
but the guy doesn't see it. Yes, the go between. And he does the same thing that shower lady did earlier, which was like, hello, okay, no one there. Continues, and the camera does pan over the bathtub, just the edge of it, but enough to see that it's not full of water at all.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he kind of hears water running that's not in his sink, turns around, and the bathtub is now full of green water, and it's coming out of the faucet.
Yeah, full past the old, overflow drain. Exactly. It was like almost to the tippy top, and it's like greenish, blackish water. Okay, I just couldn't tell by his acting, by the way, that's what the surprise was. Not that it was green, black water, was that his tub is now magically filled to the brim and he didn't turn the tub on.
Right.
Because he didn't act like, oh, hey. He did try to release the plunger to, drain the tub, and nothing happens. And he's like, huh. And he's sitting there looking at his reflection in the water.
See, I thought I saw on his face maybe like, man, I really do not want to put my hand down there to do something with the drain.
Do the drain thing. Yeah.
Which is the usual move that they do.
Right. I was ready to be movies. Like, don't put your hand in. I was ready to say it. Yep. And thankfully he didn't put his hand in, but he did look wistfully at the water like, what should I do now?
Yeah.
And he's looking at the water long enough that an arm reaches out of the water, grabs him by the throat, and starts to choke him. Doesn't drag him into the water, but chokes him to the point where his eyes bug out, his face changes to this darkish, blackish color, and the veins pop out on his head and they're black. It's suddenly...
It was immediate.
And it was just instant something bad happened. And I thought he was going to get dragged into the tub.
Yeah.
But he didn't. That's how they end that scene, is him just eyes bugging, face changing, veins popping.
Yes.
End of scene.
They've already done something similar in Dead in the Water in season 1.
Right, which is why I expected
I think they also were like, maybe we should do something
Maybe we
different
should-
since we have scary water yet again. Did you notice that one of his eyes rolled up into the back of his head a little bit?
It was pretty cool.
It was
I bet sure as an actor, he's like, you know what I can do?
Yeah. Oh, I think that was a CGI thing.
No, I know. But every once in a while, like shows will actually use a special talent that an actor has.
Well, I can do this.
Sammy, no, you got to warn a person. You can't just say this.
I can do this
and then do it. Oh God. Okay, having seen that, Jensen can do the same thing.
Really?
Yep.
I share a trait with Jensen?
You absolutely do.
Oh my God.
You absolutely do. I'll send you a GIF of him doing that exact thing.
For listeners of a podcast who can't view what I just did, I have the ability to cross just one eye while the other one can stay forward, which is
How did you learn you could do that?
I think it was by accident. I think I thought that I was crossing my eyes.
Both your eyes?
And someone was like, "Oh my God, how are you doing that?" I'm like, "I'm just crossing my eyes. What are you talking about?"
No,
but I don't know if I still can. I can.
You can do that. Oh!
I can move it.
Stop.
Yeah. It hurts though to do that.
Okay, I was like, it hurts my eyes.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to cross one and leave the other. I've done that enough.
Yeah.
To where
I mean, I can cross my eyes.
Stuck that way someday, but
Sammy's so pretty. If only you. That was amazing. I'll have to send you that GIF. It's amazing. So, cut 2. Bela is now interviewing what turns out to be the brother of the guy who died in his bathroom. And so she's kind of asking him about the ship that apparently his brother saw before he died. Sam and Dean show up just in time to block her from getting any information from this guy. They show up and flash their fake badges and run her off like she's a terrible reporter. You know, like nobody likes reporters. Yes, exactly. And they kind of shoo her away and then step in and continue with the same line of questioning that she was just doing.
Yeah.
But it turns out that both he and his brother saw the ship. So it wasn't just his brother who saw the ship and was killed.
Yeah, they were both on a night dive because this brother, whose name is Peter, gives like a ton of detail, like very specific.
Oh, like
I've been yachting my whole life. Like I know the terms for ships.
For the masts and for the prow and for the this and for the that. They're very, very detailed information about what this ship looked like.
Yeah.
And they're like, huh, how do you know all this? It's because I saw it too.
Right.
You know, and they're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
and
just then in the distance, Bela is ratting out the boys to the real cops.
To real cops. And Sam and Dean are like, thank you. Bye. You know, we'll be in touch. So the next thing we see is Sam and Dean loading their salt shells, their, you know, shotgun cartridges of rock salt. They're getting their shotguns ready for.
Right, because they want to try and save Peter since they know the ghost will come after them or him.
Yep.
Because they've learned that. It's like, okay, you see the ghost in ship, then later you're going to drown.
Bela shows up as they're, you know, prepping their weapons and continues to antagonize them. Like, oh, I see you found your car. You know, no one found your secret stash. That's good. What's the point of what you're doing? Why are you like getting all like huntered up if this guy's just going to die?
Yeah,
you know?
She's like written him off as a lost cause.
And the guys, and I thought that was interesting that it's Dean. Dean's the one who says, well, we have souls. You know, we are not heartless. We have souls. We want to try to help this guy. And my question is, does Dean at this moment have a soul if he sold it to the Crossroad Demon, or is his soul taken when he dies?
I think it's taken when he dies.
Taken when he dies. Okay, because that was a question. I was like, does he have a soul?
Yes.
He does have a soul. But when he dies in less than a year, his soul is definitely sent to hell. Right. And it belongs to hell.
Yeah, hell does not have a soul yet because the deal is you get to have your soul for one more year. And then we take it.
Okay.
Your soul, your life, I was whatever.
Like, how does this work? I wrote down. I didn't fully research the whole demon deal. But it was interesting that they chose Dean to say those lines, given that he literally sold his soul.
Yeah.
To help somebody, no less.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to Bela, who wouldn't sell her soul and, you know, would probably sell somebody else's soul if it made her a profit.
Right.
You know?
Right. And then they have like this banter. Kind of they jabbing each other back and forth. You know, Dean brings up some daddy issues, which she throws right back at him.
Yep.
And then she likens them to serial killers. You know, she says, you're basically the same thing,
One
but
step
for
away from
monsters. You know, you're just doing this for vengeance and obsession. Whereas I just do a job and, you know,
I get paid for it. I was like, I actually think that you doing it for, you know, money is worse.
Yeah.
Then, because Sam and Dean aren't necessarily doing it out of vengeance. They're doing it out of family, you know, the family job, you know, family business.
There were parts of it, sure, that were for vengeance, especially when it came to anything that dealt with Yellow Eyes and
yeah,
Mom.
but everything else is about saving people.
Right. I did not think this was a fair comparison at all, because it's like, well, I mean, unless maybe they're serial killers in the way that Dexter is, you know, where he's a serial killer of monsters.
Yeah, but he's an actual sociopath,
right?
And you and I have our own experiences with actual sociopaths,
right.
And that's not Sam and Dean.
So that was a bit harsh as far as like Bela was concerned.
Yeah,
but also a note that when he mentioned the daddy issues, you could see it kind of strike a nerve with her. I think that the actress, did a really good job of just a very
subtle
small,
clues.
Show of like, oh, that got to me.
Yeah, you know, she has chinks in the armor.
Yes,
you know,
and there he found one.
Yep.
But she really like knows, like what you said earlier, knows where to hit them, because then she like leaves them with yeah, you're doing a really good job saving all these people. What are you, 0 for 2 at this point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah, she knows them. she not only knows their situation, but she knows them. So she is on top of it, just like, you know, how she found out that, you know, that Gert was mad at her about not being.
Yeah. Okay, so now the boys are staking out Peter the brother's house. He's inside. You can see him packing up, I guess, his brother's things or something. And Sam has been busy, you know, doing background checks on these guys, which is pretty clean.
Yeah, like, can't find anything except like a parking ticket or a speeding ticket or something.
Yeah, the usual things that most people have.
Yeah.
But also that, like, wow, they're pretty rich because they inherited their father's fortune of $112 million.
I could use some of that money right now. But, and the same thing with Sheila, the jogger girl who drowned. No, not a bad person. You know, no public record. So what do they have in common? Yeah. Why did all 3 of them see this ship? And Sam and Dean don't know. They just
For all they know, it could be just random at this point. But probably not, because spirits don't tend to be random.
Yep. And just then, the brother has seen them, you know, staking out his house
in their
nondescript
inconspicuous car,
right? And comes out of the house and is like kind of a dick, you know. I mean, immediately gets in their face and is like, you know, hey, you know, why are you guys watching me? You're not actual cops. What's going on?
He's making fun of their clothes and their car.
And he made fun of their car. He's like being kind of a bougie dick.
Yeah.
You know, because he makes fun of the fact that it's, you know, you can't be cops if you're driving that car.
Yeah.
You know,
dressed like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then like runs to his car and like, tries to take off.
Sprints. I
was like, what are you running from? You're in your like locked gated house.
Right.
But he like jumps in his car as like he's gonna go speeding off.
To where? I don't know. But
yeah. And why? Who knows? But we don't have to find out because his car sputters and dies. And I love that both Sam and Dean are like, that can't be good.
Yeah. Go get the gun. Go get the gun.
Go get the salt gun. Go. So Dean like goes running to the car to get the salt weapons, and Sam goes running to try to like leap the fence and go help. What's the guy's name? Peter?
Peter, yes. who, when he's trying to start the car, looks in his rearview mirror and sees, and we see that for the first time also the ship spirit. Yes.
Yeah. And it's this guy with wet, dripping hair, and he's kind of like a Pirates of the Caribbean dead guy.
He does. He kind of looks like one of those from the ship, the Flying Dutchman. I think it's the Flying Dutchman.
Is it the Flying Dutchman?
The ship where they're like part of the ship, part of the crew. And they're like half
Davy Jones.
creatures.
Davy Jones's crew. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We just invoked Pirates of the Caribbean into Supernatural.
Fine with me. I love both of those things.
Just he was like a cleaner version of
He didn't have he didn't have a starfish stuck to his face, but
but he did look very wet and drown.
Yes. And then he does like a little spirity switcheroo where he goes from the back seat to the front seat, touches Peter's face, and then Peter just starts spewing water out of his mouth.
And the car seems to be like semi-filling with water, or at least we see water like running down the windows and stuff.
Yeah.
But Peter just was like gagging and choking and vomiting water.
And like doesn't stop. It's not just like it was like a mouthful of water.
Yeah, it's not like it literally is like a hose of water. Dean grabs the salt gun. Sam runs to the car. Both of them are too late. And Peter drowns. I mean, he dies. He like slumps forward, over the steering wheel. But Sam arrives in time to see Ghost Guy still in the front seat of the car.
They both do. Yeah, they both do.
And then
Dean
runs up.
Mm-hmm.
Try to help Peter, but he's clearly dead. And both Dean and Sam are upset.
Yeah.
Like Dean seems kind of pissed that he got there too late. Sam seems like emotionally upset.
Right. And even in the car on the way away from there, Dean is trying very hard-ish to comfort like both of them, to do the old standby of we can't save everyone.
Right.
But Sam's
like,
yeah, but lately I can't save anyone.
Yeah.
Which was a very Sam-like thing to me.
Admission. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that like thunder kind of booms in the background. It's like, oh.
Well, yeah, even on the radio, they're like forecasting like a giant thunderstorm that's coming in.
Winter's coming.
Yes. So now the boys are at a pretty cool abandoned house. Not a motel.
Not a motel.
Interestingly enough.
Working by candlelight. So Sam is doing Sam research. He's got like a text. He's got this book of shipwrecks that he's researching, and knock at the door, and it's Bela. So of course Bela was able to track them down and find them at this abandoned house because she's Bela. Comes in and proceeds to heckle them some more.
I know. Like snubs their living arrangements.
Yes. She's like, tell me you're not squatting. It's like, well, of course they're squatting. Like what? You now know more about them than,
right.
You're able to track them. You know about their lives. You know who they are. And so you're surprised that they're squatting.
Why not? It's a pretty big, awesome house.
Really nice house.
Squat there, like save the credit card fraud for another day.
Right. I mean, and it's, I loved the house. And she's like, all right, guess what, everybody? Mystery solved. I found the ship.
Yes.
So again, Bela freaking smart. She's got the info.
Yeah.
And the name of the ship is the Espirito Santo, which essentially means like the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit, yeah.
Yeah.
In Portuguese, eh?
Yes.
Which in 1859, one of the...
Like the first mate.
Yeah, the first mate. I think it was the first mate. Hanged for treason at 37 years old, which would explain the 37-year cycle of this ghost ship coming up. And she also has in this nice, sleek little zippery folder. I was like, that's a nice little Bela touch. Like, of course, she would have like this nice lawyery-ish
presentation
type of thing. Yes. Photos of the crew. And Dean immediately IDs the guy as the one that was in the car.
And it turns out that not only was he accused of treason and then hanged, his body was cremated, but not before they cut off his hand.
Yes.
Which was a thing to do, apparently, that the hand of a hanged man apparently had possessed.
It did. I have like I have a thing, please bear with me. Okay. So, Dean notices that his hand is missing. Bela was like, "Oh, his right hand?" And Sam is like, "Yeah, duh, the right hand is an occult object of
Right.
power."
Of
So,
power, yeah.
you know, Sam and Bela both know this thing. So, that was a thing, except usually the hand was the left hand of the bad doer, or whichever hand did the deed.
Did the murder, yep.
And when combined with a candle made from the fat of that
Of
same
the
guy,
hand.
could be a very powerful object that renders a person motionless if presented with it. Okay, so there's that.
Whew.
Hand of glory is derived from a French term. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. I'm sorry. Main de gloire. Gloire. Maybe it's gloire. Which is taken from the word mandragore, which is also used as mandrake, which is a plant.
Oh, it's a plant, yeah.
That
it's a poisonous plant, isn't it?
It can be, yeah. The roots have both narcotic and hallucinogenic properties. Mandrake folklore says that anyone who pulled the roots up could be condemned to hell, and the roots would then scream and cry, killing anyone within hearing distance.
Ooh.
In Harry Potter, there is a scene where the mandrake plays a big role. They're like in their like horticulture class where they're pulling up mandrake roots, and the roots are like shaped like babies and they scream like babies, but because they're babies, they won't kill you. They'll just kind of knock you out, but you can wear earmuffs and be fine. So they're like repotting them so they'll grow up, because they were used as a cure for kids who were being paralyzed by a different creature altogether.
Oh, is this when Hermione is in that paralyzed state?
Okay. Yes. So all these kids in the school are being paralyzed by this other creature. The cure is to use the mandrakes.
Oh.
So I thought it's interesting how like the mandrake, through like a series of like kind of like the game of telephone, turns into the hand of glory, which paralyzes people when they're in the same space.
Interesting.
That was a train of thought that was maybe useless.
No, that's amazing. I just think I'm still like in Dean's boat with the idea of the hand of glory. Just sounds disgusting.
It does. Like,
you know, it sounds like some sort of sexual experience. Yeah. Which I can't blame him for that. And the whole idea of like a candle made out of the fat drained from the person. God, how is any of this a good thing? Who thought that if you cut off the hand of a dead man, you know, of a murderous dead man, you know, gave you power?
Man. It's like very specifically.
Yeah, I was like,
hanged man.
What was life like?
I know.
You know, that these things actually were written down.
You didn't have like TV and things, so you just kind of were left to your own imagination, which I guess could be pretty.
I guess. But it turns out that this guy who, at 37, who was found guilty of treason and hanged and then cremated, but not before his hand was cut off, his hand is actually on display at the Maritime Museum in this town.
Yes.
Where are they? Hold on. They are in Sea Pines, Massachusetts. Which is not a real place, but there is a Sea Pines condo in Brewster, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Brewster. So the hand's at the museum.
Yes.
And Bela has a plan to steal the hand, but it involves Sam and Dean playing parts.
Yeah. A little time jump. Bela standing there looking stunning in a black backless number, impatiently waiting for Dean to get dressed in his little outfit, which turns out to be a very dashing tuxedo.
Yes, cue the James Bond music as he enters the scene.
He's uncomfortable in this tuxedo.
Clearly not comfortable in a monkey suit, yeah.
Thinks he looks stupid. Bela does not.
This was, I think, one of the best things she said, which was, you know, when this is all done, we should have angry sex, which I'm sure a lot of fans were thinking about at the same time.
Yeah.
The women in this episode were very sexually aggressive.
Yes.
I Not that that's a bad thing. I just thought it was
No.
interesting that
It's nice that
both,
Bella said what she thought. It's just like, hey, look, I'm just going to put this out on the table.
Yeah.
You can take it if you want.
There's something
You'll
here.
probably take it.
Yeah.
But I loved, like, Dean's thought process and physicality
he's like,
that.
yeah, no, wait.
No. It went from, like, absolutely not to, hey, to,
don't say
I
that
don't know, maybe. And then, like, repeated those in his head. And then finally finished with a feminist standoff of, don't objectify
me. Yes.
But then finished with a, wow,
with the
I'm
smile.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, with the smile of, I got it. Yeah, look at me, I got it. Yes, indeed. So off they go, apparently to the museum where there's a shindig there tonight. And Gert was able to get them invitations. So Sam, unfortunately, is Gert's date. I guess that was part of the bargain. And Dean and Bella go as a couple.
Yes.
And of course, Gert has stepped over the line of this is just an event to, like, Sam has asked me to attend with him.
Yes.
And she's full on a date.
Oh, yeah.
She thinks she has snagged Sam.
And she cannot keep her hands off of him.
Yeah. Can't blame her. And it starts out as kind of funny and cute. And then I was like, okay,
yeah, this is
actually,
okay.
Yeah, she's assaulting him.
Yes. Yeah. No, she straight up was assaulting him. So, yeah, I love that when Dean got there, he's like chewing gum and Bella clocks it and like chastises him.
Right.
And then his answer to that was to stick it onto like the punch bowl fountain thing.
Right. Yeah. It was a very Pretty Woman moment, where he's like, don't chew gum. And she's like, puh, and she spits it out, that was Dean's Pretty Woman moment. And now my favorite moment was a little bit later where Sam has like extricated himself from Gert for a little bit just to be like, okay, what is our plan? Why am I this woman's date? What's going on? And after Dean and Bella head off to go do their like grab the hand thing, and he has to distract Gert. Like Gert shows up with like 2 glasses of champagne, is like, woo, 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 I've got our drinkies, honey. Sam takes the champagne and doesn't even look at Gert, and he just like drains it. He's just like, and done. And it's kind of an angry drain, Right. He's like, oh, why do I, he's like, why it's the same thing. Why does Dean get to go be with the sexy girl?
Yeah.
And I have to be here.
Even though she shot me, she's still the sexy girl,
Right? Right. So this whole next bit for me was so very unsupernatural that I didn't take a lot of detailed notes about it because it kind of turned me off. Yes, they're there to retrieve the hand. Mm-hmm. Because Sam and Dean need the hand to salt and burn it to end this thing. Yeah. Bella wants it, obviously, because she needs to sell it. For her own
purposes, yeah.
Right.
She doesn't reveal it at this point, but, she's obviously not there to help anybody.
Right. She's in town, like, swindling old people out of their money, taking advantage of old people wanting to commune with their cats. So she is not there for any good purposes other than her own. No. So this whole machination is like, she could have done this on her own, and Sam and Dean could have done that on their own as well. Right. So the fact that they've paired up together while they're trusting her kind of just didn't feel right for me. It seemed very forced.
But they even say it earlier, because when Sam breaks away from Gert for a minute, Sam even says, we can crash anywhere. Like, why did I need to, like, be arm candy for this handsy old lady?
This Mrs. Haversham.
Because it's funny, yes.
Right. Anytime you can throw in a Dickens joke, yeah.
Yeah. But Dean even says, like, because this is way more entertaining. So maybe that was their way of trying to explain this whole rigmarole that they're doing, but still.
Yeah. So this is one of the biggest, like, unsupernatural.
It was like, I feel like the writer / director just wanted this scene or this setup, yeah, of like them being in these fancy, like a James Bondy kind of situation. How do we get there? I don't think they quite
a little romancing the stone moment.
Right. Right. Although I did like, though, within this scene that didn't really make sense, the banter between Dean and Bella. Yeah. And also the assaults aside, Gert and Sam, mostly because of Sam's like reaction.
Uncomfortableness.
Yes. And just like, fuck.
Right.
Like, just like bearing with it because he knows he has to.
This song is really long. Yes. And Gert's like, I hope it never ends, you know.
I know. So they're trying to think of a way to get up to the room in which the hand is in. Dean notices that all the security guards are probably pros, and while he's trying to think of a plan, while Bella is, bragging on him for not thinking of a plan fast enough, she all of a sudden faints in a very
yeah. Oh, honey. Yes. Forcing Dean to then jump into, you know, oh, honey, are you okay?
Yeah. So with that, they're able to get up into a room by themselves so she can sleep off the alcohol. Right. Not before he's able to grab a
crab puff or something that didn't have any shellfish.
Yeah.
Can't blame him for that. Very Dean moment.
And then when they get up into the room, Bella totally has the upper hand on Dean as far as witty remarks and comebacks and jabs.
Yeah.
She does not let up. She's on a roll, and Dean
and then jabs
up.
him, and then jabs him for not having any comebacks. I was like, damn, she is mean.
She is, but I liked it. I did like having a woman having the upper hand in that kind of way. Yeah.
It was good that she had the upper hand smart wise, not because she had had boobs out or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dean wasn't flummoxed sexually. He was literally in over his head intellectually with her.
Yes.
So downstairs, we leave Dean being, persecuted by Bella. Yeah. We downstairs, Sam is dancing with Gert in this endless song.
Yes.
But he's able to get her to talk a little bit more about the circumstances of her niece's death.
Yeah, she's pretty much outright, they keep cutting back to her and him, and she's getting continuously more and more tipsy and more and more handsy.
Yeah.
But at this point, at the final cutaway, she's just drunk. It was nice that he was still honest with her because, then she kind of goes into the case and she's like, do you think that the deaths were connected of the Warren brothers and her niece? And he does. He's like, yeah, I think that we do, but we're not quite sure how yet.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't
doesn't brush her off.
No.
Yeah. He's bedside Sam.
I know. Can't help himself.
And she can't help herself. Because she just, woof, grabs him, but also flatters him at the same time, I do love that. She's like, ooh, you're just firm all over. And, you're just, and she was like, you remind me of my husband. Yeah. And, so she was clearly swept up in who Sam was. I mean, she was, over the top, but genuine in her affection for Sam, I think. In the meantime, Dean has crept down to the next room, finds the hand, and is able to steal the hand without setting off any alarms.
Yeah.
But while he's gone, one of the security guards goes to check on Bella, and Bella's ruse is she undoes part of her dress and pretends that pretends that she and Dean have been having sex in that room, and we just need a couple more minutes if you don't mind. And the guard's like, okay, fine. Leaves her to it, and then she proceeds to have sexy sounds by herself, in that room. And then the guard passes Dean, returning from stealing the hand. And that's why I was like, really, these guys are pros? Because Dean's like, hey, you just had to take a bathroom break or something. I hope my wife is okay or something like that. And the guard says something.
Thanks for taking care of my wife. And he's like, don't worry. She's being taken care of.
What kind of pro guard are you that you didn't be like, hey, who's she?
Right,
your wife is now diddling another guy, and anyway.
That you let up there.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Stuck past you.
Right? There's now a second man up there, but
yeah. But it was
Anyways,
a funny little exchange.
It was exchange. So Dean has stolen this disgusting dead man's hand. Truly. I mean, it was a great looking prop, but it was truly revolting. Like a semi-mummified dead man's hand. Cut back to Gert and Sam. Now Gert is saying,
oh, but you know about the brothers, right?
The brothers. Like
she lets in on a rumor about the Warren brothers. And then she disturbingly whispers it into Sam's ear. It was so awkward.
I was like, oh, poor Sammy must have, like, you, Sammy, must have been like, oh, God, that sound in your ears, you know, because she was, like, whispering deep into his ear canals.
But she says that it's been said that they murdered their father in order to get that giant inheritance that they had.
Yep.
And then Sam was like, huh. Well, so if Shayla didn't have a connection with them, like, obviously, was there a death in her family?
Yeah, did she have a tragedy? Yeah.
Yeah. And then, there was a car accident in which her cousin died, but she survived.
Huh. All right. So family members have died at the hands of...
Right. So when Bela and Dean arrive, Gert just throws herself into Bella's arms and is just like, oh, he wants me. She's just like full on a horny old lady.
No, absolutely. And it was gross at that point.
Yeah.
I was like,
but still, I was just like, good for you. Good for you. Gert.
Yeah, right. Right. Can't blame her, but it's like, for those of us, it's like, okay, 1 is funny, 2 is funny, 3 is funny, 4 is not.
Yeah. Even the 3 was, because it was more, it was a lot. It was almost every scene. There's a lot of ass grabbing. So anyway, Bela takes her away. She's like, okay, I'm just going to throw her in a cold shower.
Cold shower.
Yes,
bye.
Please, thank you. See you later at the cemetery.
Catch up later. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Dean and Sam also depart back into the car. Can't wait to leave the party.
Yes.
Sam's like, I hope to God you got it, because I don't want to have to go through any of that again. And Dean's like, of course I got it. And he goes searching through his pockets, pulls out the hanky that he had wrapped the hand in, and it's not the hand. It's a ship in a bottle that Bela had previously, fondled in that office. So Bela, being Bela, sleight of hand, she, stole the lottery tickets out of his jacket.
Yes.
She was able to steal this disgusting hand out of Dean's jacket.
How and when did she do that?
I think it was during the handoff. I want to say it was either during the handoff of Gert.
She did not touch him, because I watched.
Then it must have been,
because in the last time we saw Bela, you can see her, like when she rests her hands over the jacket. That's
you can see it. Yes,
you could see her kind of toying with the tickets. You could see when she did it.
Sure.
There is not a moment on camera, at least, where she was able to reach her hand into Dean's jacket, switch the hand with the bottle inside of a hanky.
Right. I didn't see it, and I just assumed
I don't think we were meant to see it, but it was just like, okay. There was no amount of time in between, because when he comes back with the hand, she tries to take it. She's like, I'll take it.
I'll take that.
I'll take it off your hands. The hand off your hand.
I'll put it in my purse. Yeah.
And he's like, nice try.
And he takes his hanky out, and he wraps the hand in a hanky, and then puts it on the inside pocket of his tux jacket.
Yes.
So either she fondled him in a scene that didn't make it into the episode.
Right.
Or she's magic. And so we see Bela post-hand handoff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting ready to get back in her car, like after she's sold this hand. And she looks up, and she now sees the ghost ship. Thunder booming, ghost ship goes floating by, and is like, oh, shit.
Yep. Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh. So back at the abandoned house that Dean and Sam are squatting at, knock at the door again.
However, before that, Dean is pacing the floor, pissed that Bela has got another one on them.
On them, yeah. And Sam's like,
just quick to correct
us. You. She boned you. I had nothing to do with it. She got you.
Yes, I feel like that was a little bit of payback for having
Gert.
Yes, let Gert fondle him all night.
Yep. I know, it was good because Sam just kind of sat back like, what are you going to say to that?
Yeah. Yep.
You're like,
didn't let up. He was just like, oh, sorry. I said what I said.
right. Sorry, not sorry. But as it turns out, Bella comes in and admits that she saw the ship, you know, and so now she knows that she's marked for death.
Right. Yeah, but she sold the hand and it's halfway across the ocean. No time to get it back. So
right, we can't salt and burn it now because it's gone.
And then this is like when the boys give a nice little knowing look to each other, be like, "You saw the ship, huh?
We didn't see the ship.
So what does this say about you, Bella? Because
right?
by now they've both talked to each other and have
they know
realized
the
family motive
connection. Yep.
Because the spirit's own brother, who was the captain of the ship, was the one who hanged him. Therefore, the spirit is going after people who have killed
responsible
their own family.
for the death of a family member. Yep. So the big question is, was it people who have spilled family blood, I believe is the way they put it.
Right.
And so the question is, what has Bella done? And she doesn't give it. She doesn't give out. No. She doesn't say. She's like, nope. You wouldn't understand. Nobody ever understands. They didn't understand when it happened. Doesn't matter. Yeah. What's the solution? How do we get me out of this?
Even though that's the only question they want answered. Like, if that was like okay, answer this question and then we'll help you.
Yep.
She still does it. She's like, okay, fine. I'll just go.
Fine, I'll do it. I'll figure it out myself because I've always done it my own way. I'll do it. Yeah. And they're like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
We might have an answer. We might have a solution to this particular pickle, which I thought was interesting.
It was particularly because Dean was so ready to just leave her there. Yeah. He really was. He was like, all right, I don't care about you. Let's just pack up and go. I mean, he's still like, so pissed that she's tricked him, you know, bruising his ego, I'm sure.
That he's ready to just write her off.
But also, that was their ticket to save future victims, and she didn't care. She knew that and still didn't care and still sold it for money.
Yep, for money.
So why should they care?
Right. But because they have hearts.
And it was Sam. It was Sam that was the one that was just like, well, hold on. Okay.
I may have figured something out. Yeah. So cue a bad dissolve of a shot of a moon dissolving into a pentagram surrounded by candles or with candles. Yeah. Yes, and in a cemetery. Sam has Dad's journal and is pouring some sort of potion into a bowl by the pentagram with the candles and stuff like that. And as that's happening, a storm is kind of brewing at the cemetery out of nowhere, like kaboom, and just started just like cue the storm, and the storm comes, and you know, Dean's like, you better start, Sammy, because
both he and Bella are not convinced that this is going to work, but
but might as well give it a go. So Sam opens Dad's journal and starts this Latin incantation, which, by the way, starts with the word or has the third word as Castiel, which I thought was interesting. I'm sure it was an accident. They wrote this first. It was an absolute accident. It was just a biblical term that they threw in there. But still, it made all of us go, yes, Castiel. And so he's reading this incantation. The storm's getting bigger and better. It's getting bigger and wetter. And I have to say that Sam is having better luck reading this Latin incantation than Dean had reading his definitely exorcism.
Holding on to the book.
Yes. And he's able to pronounce the Latin far better than, than Dean did in Sin City. And the wet one-handed ghost guy appears. And immediately mind blasts Dean out of the way. Yeah. And then reaches for Bella and strokes her face, almost caresses her face. And she immediately starts choking and gagging and does the whole start spewing water like Peter did. And Dean from a distance is like, keep reading, read faster, get it going.
And he's reading and reading and reading. It just feels like it's a long time of reading Latin. Yeah. But he does finally finish. Oh, go ahead.
I swear to God, he finished with the word boobies. Go back and listen to it after everything he said, spiritus mundus or whatever it is, boobies. Last word he says. Okay. And the storm stops. Yes. The clouds kind of part.
The
You know,
wind
it's still kind of,
stops. Yeah, it
yeah,
just
it's
turns
still
quiet.
cold. Yeah. And suddenly you hear the sounds of like a ship creaking or like, wood creaking. And you see another ghost has appeared.
Yeah,
And it's the captain.
that we've recognized from the Sam showed a picture of him earlier to Bella.
Yeah. And now the ghost brother, the one-handed brother, sees his brother and says, "You hanged me." And the captain brother is like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah. So sorry.
And one-handed ghost guy is like, "You are my brother." And brother is like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
So it took me a minute to figure out that what Sam had done was conjured the spirit of the captain. I was like, why do they have to go to a cemetery to do this? And it's because they went to the cemetery where the brother captain was buried, summoned his ghost, summoned his spirit. So now the two spirits are standing face to face. And the hanged brother then turns his anger and ire at the captain, at his brother, and does this. Now I have to say, I loved this effect.
The effects guy was very proud of this. This was
Very
the last one that he talked
cool.
about. Yeah.
So the two ghosts, the ghost brother with the one hand runs at his brother, and as if made of water, they both like explode into each other. It was like two water balloons.
Exactly what I was just gonna say. It was just like, oh, it's a little like toyish to say it was two water balloons, but it was two
or
evil,
two giant
ghostly
cups of water
balloons
thrown at each other. It was really cool. So these two spirits literally are torn apart into like water.
It was very cool, and it was in slow motion. Which I guess made the effect like even harder to do.
Oh gosh, can you imagine?
I know, but they were just like, so not only are we turning people into water, but
we're doing evaporating them at the same time.
So many frames per second in order to do slow motion.
Yeah, so these two spirits like explode into each other. They just are gone. So I'm assuming the two spirits are now struggling somewhere else, just not on our planes. So Bella is saved. She's no longer choking on water. And
Sam finally saved someone.
Yep. And so the next day, I'm assuming the boys are back at the abandoned house, and Bella comes in, like, "Hey boys, hey, how's it going? How's it going? Listen, about that thing you did. Here's some money." And she hands them like 10 grand in like cash.
Yeah.
Bella, instead of saying thank you, just is like, "Hey, here's money for the thing you did." And Dean says, "Can't you just say thank you?"
But she doesn't thank him. Even then, even with a prompt of a thank you, she's just like, "Goodbye, lads. Don't want to be in anyone's debt."
Yep, exactly. And she still doesn't tell them what it was in her past that brought the ship to her. And nope. So that's it. So back in the car, Sam and Dean driving in the Impala and arguing again, just as they were at the beginning of the episode.
Right. Yes, it's a nice sandwich, but Dean is excited to have this $20,000 because they're off to Atlantic City.
Sam's like, "Really? This is like blood money. Do you really?" And Dean's like, "Doesn't matter. If it's blood money, we'll just go blow it on black,
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just like, you could use this for so many motels and hamburgers.
Right? And weapons.
Yes.
Salt. Costumes. Fake mustaches.
Yes.
Which thankfully, I don't think they ever did on Supernatural. They never did any fake, facial stuff.
I think you may be right, but I don't want to put that out there as a thing.
Because then it's going to come up and bite me in the ass.
Yeah. When they do.
They're arguing again, and they're back to the emotional effects of trying to help each other, save each other, love each other, and kind of fighting over who gets to be the savior.
Yeah.
And Dean is being he's back to being a little laissez-faire, a little he's come to grips with his demise, like his future being in hell. But he seems to think that Sam will be okay. He's like, "Sam, you're stronger than me. You'll be okay. You'll keep on hunting. Everything will be fine." And Sam's like, you don't get to think those things for me. I am still going to try to save you.
Right.
And you don't get a choice in this matter.
Right. And he's also mad because he's like, you think that I'm like so worried about me, but what I'm mostly worried about is you and how you are feeling towards yourself.
Right.
Because you're just like willing to like lay down and die and you're not worried about it. Why aren't you worried about it?
Yeah.
Care that your life is coming to an end and you just don't care. And Dean's response, well, maybe I'll play craps. He's back to Atlantic City gambling.
It's the same old because I said so. It's a very dad attitude.
Yeah.
Which is do what I say.
Ignore the problem.
Yep. Just do what I say and don't ask questions. And that's it. I'm gonna end this conversation by not being a part of it. So yeah, this was I kind of or rate this episode kind of along the lines, not as bad as Bugs. Bugs had its own issues. The thing I didn't like about this episode is it just didn't feel true to Supernatural.
Right. Yeah. The continuity of them, not necessarily like from shot to shot to shot, but the continuity of the boys and their habits and personalities.
Yeah, it didn't feel real. It didn't feel like it had them, didn't have their best interests. It just was a weird standalone monster of the week. And while the effects were pretty good, I love Bela, but I really didn't like Bela in this episode because a part of me kept writing, like, why does she keep poking at them? She's good. She's a good, strong character, but she wasn't fitting in. It was a forced marriage of characters.
Yeah, I think
making
it was
them do this.
It was like too much too fast because their first encounter with the rabbit's foot was pretty short. They were getting to know her and like realize what an adversary she is and how smart she is.
Yeah.
But it was just like a couple of scenes with the both of them.
Right.
And also, like the shooting of Sam.
Yeah, considering that she shot Sam and then stole like $50,000 from Dean.
Everyone's being very flippant about everything.
Yes. It's like, why would they even trust her or want to help her? I mean, they didn't want to help her, but they trusted her. In the beginning, they're first like, no, go to hell. But then they were like, she kept inserting herself in their situation, so they had to deal with her. But there's a part of me that was like, this was just so forced. It was such a forced scenario that it didn't feel real to me. It did not feel very supernatural to me, which is funny that I said real and supernatural in the same sentence. One of my questions, honestly, is the connection between the hanged sailor and the dry drownings, because there was nothing about his death that had anything to do with drowning or being thrown in the ocean. Yeah. So why was his vengeance on people whose family members died? Why was it dry drowning? That was my big question. It's like, I just didn't see the connection. I was like, he was hanged at sea. Yeah. And then the next part of me is like, hanged for treason on a boat? What kind of treason could he have been found guilty of on a boat? Like, what was he doing?
Well, that could have been like a mutiny. Like maybe someone accused him of a plot of mutiny. That happens a lot in pirate and like ship movies.
True. Things. No, I mean, I get that. But all right, then why water? Why were they dry drowning? I think that because he wasn't dragged behind the boat. He was hanged.
Ooh, the special effects guy can do something really cool with water.
With water, yeah, and he did. He was pretty good. Every water effect in this episode was awesome. Yeah, absolutely awesome. And the people like dry drowning, awesome. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't the best episode for me. That's all. Okay. It tried.
Fine. What's the next one?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, and we finished that one. Yeah. I'd really like to see what's next.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of what's next, we have fresh blood.
Oh, let me guess. Vampire. I'm just going to put a stab out there. Oh, blood. Fresh blood. It's been a while since we've done a vampire episode, so Probably time to get back into the
good old
you know,
standbys.
yes, exactly. The nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
Wash our hands of this one.
Hopefully not with ghost ship water.
Ghost ship or rain showers. I don't know.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Please subscribe to us and rate us anywhere you can where podcasts are distributed. You can also follow us on social media. We are at Salt and Burn This everywhere. And that's it. We'll see you next week for Fresh Blood. Bye.
Bye.